What's up guys, Matt here coming at you with another quick video today. I got something really cool, something that I think I'm going to use a lot with my crawlers, and it's one of those things that like I've looked at it for a while, I've seen them around, and I've kind of been curious if it would work, if I would like it personally. And it's just one of those oddball things, pretty cheap, but I really think I'm going to use this in most of my crawlers, if not all. And that is this guy right here.
Now that is just cool. So I've seen a few people use these, and they were saying kind of like the slow speed control wasn't great. So it was kind of where I was like, well, I don't know if I would really use it or not. But I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with it. Once you get used to this trigger, the transition on this is as smooth as it ever is. So it takes a little bit of getting used to because the trigger on here has a little more resistance to it than a normal trigger, but it actually feels pretty good once you get used to it. I think this is made for a right-hand person, left-hand person. I don't know which way it is. I normally one-hand drive with my left hand. It's just how I've always done it. And it doesn't feel bad in this hand. It does feel a little better like this, but I don't think I can get used to driving that way. So I'm just gonna have to use it this way. But man, after I get used to it, I really like the feel of it. And it's just so simple. You know, it's a little less of a stretch and reach and, you know, trying to do this all the time. It's just right there. Like, it's so smooth. So one of the coolest features about this thing is the cruise control. So you can get your throttle started, hit that button, and it locks it in. Now the other cool thing didn't really see too many people mention is you can adjust that. So you can just press the up arrow and it will get faster and it will keep it there. You can do that all the way down into reverse if you want. Just press the down arrow. It will get slower and slower until you go into reverse if you want to. So if you're trailing, you can bump that up to a trailing speed and then just steer. That's crazy. So then you just tap the speed button again to turn the throttle, the cruise off. It does have trim, so your up and down is your throttle, forward, reverse, left and right is your steering. So you can just tap that and it adjusts your steering trim. I think it has endpoints. I'm not real sure how to do all of that. I didn't really see it in the manual, but somebody had mentioned it had endpoints. It does have a steering dual rate, so you can turn your steering up or down basically to 0. So that's kind of like endpoints. And then you have a throttle MP, whatever that is. But it basically, you can turn your throttle all the way down or just give it a little bit. So if you've got a kid driving this, you can make that max throttle if you wanted to. And you can dial this all the way up to full speed, obviously. So a pretty cool little transmitter. You've got 4 channels. So a 3 and a 4 you can put on lights or something like that. You'd need like a light controller for this, but you can set it up and then just hit that button and your lights will come on. So you've got 4 channels to play with. This will do mixing. It says of channels 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I don't really know how to use that. I haven't messed with it any, but honestly, I'm just going to use this for my very simple crawlers that I really just need 2, maybe 3 channels on for some lights, but I'm very impressed with this. I love the feel of it. And as you can see, I've put a PlayStation thumb grip on here. So one of the only things I didn't really like about it too much is just, this is just plastic. It has no grip. It does help that it's concaved, I guess you call that. So it's got like a little divot to it. So it's not terrible, but this makes a huge difference, just giving it some grip. So I really like having that on there. I'll try to link some of these in the description as well. Overall, I love this thing. Like, I really think I'm gonna start using this quite a bit. I know I'm gonna give it a good try for a while. I'm gonna put it in a couple of my 10 scale crawlers, couple of these. Liam tried this out and he was like, you better order another one because that one's mine. So like I've already ordered another one. I've seen this stuff on AliExpress, this entire combo for like $13. I don't know. But on Amazon, that's usually where I go because I can get it in a couple days. This is like right at $40 with 2 receivers, I think, or you can get it for like 30 with 1. So pretty cheap. And these are on eBay, I think, for $8 to $10 a piece. Fairly cheap, you know, for a pretty small receiver. If we decase this, it would be very small. So, I mean, you can see it fits well in here. Most of the time, these receivers with these antennas in the micros, you can actually cut the antenna and be fine. We're not getting real far away from ourselves in the controller with these things. So I've actually cut these down quite a bit and they work fine. Now I haven't this particular receiver, but I have on others. My Radio Link, I cut all of those micro receiver antennas, but I'm very impressed with this. I'm gonna go out and crawl with it a little bit just so you guys can see how the truck handles, but in my opinion, great little transmitter, especially if you're somebody like me who one-hand drives a lot. So I put a little bit of grip tape on this, and this thing has a really good feel now with this thumb grip and this. Man, it's just locked in your hand. Great feel. But I wanted to talk about the binding this to multiple receivers. I think somewhere I've seen that you could bind this to like 10 different receivers. I only have 2 at the moment. And I wanted to show if your steering or throttle is backwards, so I'm turning left and it's turning right, you can actually hold your steering or throttle just a little bit and then hold this reverse. You'll hear it beep and that switches it. So throttle if it's backwards, which it's not, but let's just show it. So you can get crawling like that right there. Hold it and now it's switched. Do it again, it'll go back. So let's see. I've had it bound to this and this. Let's see if this one works fine now. So every time you do that, when you go to a new model, it does remember the receiver. It's already bound up, but my steering direction and throttle is flipped because I'd already fixed it on this truck. So you're gonna have to do it again. So you see we're turning the correct direction now, throttle. So we're correct here now. If we go back to this truck, which we were just correct on, we just turn this off, turn this on. We don't even have to turn the transmitter off or on, but we are backwards again. So you will have to do that with each model if they're set up, you know, different, steering's opposite, obviously motor direction, turning different directions, etc. But it does at least remember the receiver, so you don't have to rebind it every time. So if you want to run your lights on this transmitter, or really any transmitter, the stock one will work as well with this. You're just going to need one of these light controllers. They're like $6 or $8, $9 on Amazon. I'll link it in the description. You just plug your lights into that. Plug that into whatever channel on the receiver you want to work your lights. So I have mine into channel 3. Now when we press channel 3 button, lights will come off and on. So I'm actually going to install that controller in this truck because I'm planning on running this with that truck as well for a good little bit, just to get a good feel for it. So you can also set your cruise at a low speed like that, and then just bump your throttle, and it will increase speed in increments and stay there. That's so cool. You can go back down all the way to reverse if you wanted to, and then if you want to turn it off, just press your button again. Freaking cool, man. I'm telling you, I love this thing. It does take a little bit getting used to of which way you're turning. Sometimes I still notice myself turning the wrong way.
but I think it's just because I'm used to scrolling versus kind of turning here. The control seems great though. One thing I thought you may not be able to do real well is, you know, kind of shimmy yourself with the front tires, but it's not really any problem to kind of make your servo twitch, to move yourself around. So I'm telling you, I love this. For 40 bucks, this is the ultimate one-hand crawling mod. Modulation is just as good as always. Loving this Rushmore. Got to peel those stickers off. Still haven't done that, but loving this truck though. Let's kind of test the range. You guys want to test the range? Let's do that. So I didn't cut the antenna on this receiver or anything like that. I just left it alone, because honestly you can kind of bundle it up and it's really not a big deal. But you can see I'm never going to have this small crawler this far away, but maybe for your 10th scale or something like that you may want, or if you're going to use this in a basher. I definitely do not see me using this in bashers or anything like that, but for crawlers I think I'm going to use this a lot. But this thing is just going and going. I'm never going to have my crawlers that far away from me unless I'm walking to the truck to get something and forget and take the controller with me. But that thing is gone. Still working, so definitely going to work well for these micro crawlers. So for 40 bucks with 2 receivers, this is an absolute no-brainer for me. This is one of my favorite crawler mods in a while. It was something kind of goofy, silly, I thought I would try, and it turns out I freaking love it. All right, so this grip tape did completely change the feel. It feels so much better with that. I'll try to link some of this in the description, but man, I freaking love this thing. You guys let me know, what do you think about it? Are you gonna try one? Do you think it's cool, stupid, whatever? I don't know. I feel like I'm driving a freaking jet. Let's go!